let's take a more macro view about the industry. When it comes to diversity and inclusion, oftentimes it starts at the leadership level, and what I noticed is, and you've heard this statistic many times before, but 60% of realtors are female, and yet with leadership, brokerage leadership, tech leadership, boards of directors, they're still predominantly men. So this next question comes from Debra Trappen, who partners with Sara Sutachan on the CAR WomanUp initiative, and she asks, what can organizations do to inspire more women to step into leadership positions?
So, first off, it's acknowledging and talking about the problem. And second off, it's understanding then operationally how do we impact it. So it's one thing for, a CEO of a real estate company to say, I care about diversity. But my next question is, so what are you actually doing about it, right? So step number one, transparency. Measure things like how, diversity or pay, right? Measure diversity in pay. So are women and men paid the same for equal jobs? Are women and men promoted at an equal rate for the same jobs? If not, go try to understand why and say, what can we do to change that? A lot of times people like to say it's a pipeline problem, right? We don't get enough people either wanting these positions or coming in. So instead of bemoaning the pipeline, say, what the heck is wrong with our pipeline, right? Are we going to the same places? Are we not opening this up enough? Tactical things you can do. I mean, here, just one tactical thing we do here or one or two things that make a world of difference. We started implementing this software called Textio a couple years ago in our job descriptions that looks at the text of job descriptions and identifies and pulls out certain phrases and words that would not open you up to diverse candidates. So think about, this isn't a Zillow example, but I don't know, in the tech industry, you hear a lot about, we want a rock star candidate who does this, or, kind of like bro words. Well, guess what? Women don't apply to jobs that are written in bro words.
They don't want to be ninjas?
No, exactly, right? And so little things like that, like putting a critical eye and making change, make a big difference. Another thing we looked at is interview loops. We looked at data and found that when there is an all-male interview loop, no surprise, they're much more likely to hire a male. Similarly, when it's an all-female interview loop, they're much more likely to hire a female. How do you ensure diversity in the outcome and balance? You have a mixed interview loop with men and women, right? And so it's looking at data, acknowledging and being transparent about the problem, and then not saying, oh, this is out of our hands, the pipeline or this. It's what can we do to change that? What can we do to fix it? And it's not a quick thing, and it takes many, many years, and it takes buy-in from all at the leadership level. But it's so important. And actually, I know I'm doing tons of talking, but I want to say why this is important, because a lot of times people are like, okay, diversity, but yeah, we just want to hire the smartest people. Diversity always creates better business outcomes. Because when you have a group of people who around the table who are the same, whether it's by gender, ethnicity, socioeconomic background, you get a bunch of people with the same experience, and what do? You pat each other on the back and you say, great idea. It leads to groupthink. When you have a diverse group of people around the table who come from different backgrounds, who have different experiences, who have points of view, whose whole social life is very different, you get diversity of ideas, you get debate, you get dissent, and often that leads, or always that leads to better outcomes and innovation.